Well, hello there. I want to talk today about why I was scared of apostates and worldly people. As a Jehovah's Witness, when I was inside the religion, outside of the religion, and I also have a few questions at the very end for you if you are a Jehovah's Witness. I'm so curious to ask you a few things. So, my name is Elle. I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness, and I'm also a life coach for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And today I just want to talk about this, why I was so scared. Because if you are if you hold any company with Jehovah's Witnesses at all, maybe you go to school with one, maybe you work with one, and it's sort of confusing to you, or you could be outside of the religion, you could be an ex-witness, you could be a witness. Okay, so I'm talking to like all the people today. I want to like cover the whole thing. So here's the thing, like having a disagreement with a Jehovah's Witness. So if let's say we're at work, okay, and and they get donuts, right? Okay, so I love buttermilk bars, and maybe you like the maple bars, but that's not a problem, right? We can agree to disagree and know that like we all have our preferences. No problem. Nobody gets mad. Nobody gets angry. But with religion, so much harder. So much harder. With Jehovah's Witnesses, they have such strong beliefs that what they want to do is they want to convince you that they're right, or they will run away and judge you. So if you were raised in the religion, we weren't allowed to celebrate birthdays, holidays, anything like that. And in fact, if there was a birthday or a holiday or something, I would be, I would choose to go to the library as a kid. And I did that without any parents at the school prompting me or anybody else. I did that because I really believed that that would keep me safe. Because if I were to participate, or or even if I were to listen to somebody's opinions about these sort of things, it meant death for me. It really did. So it meant if I was participating in anything like birthdays, holidays, any of that stuff, that I was actually part of the problem. And so if you look at like the work situation, yeah, we can disagree on like what our favorite donut is, but when it comes to religion, um, yeah, there, without question, me, when I was a witness and I was at work, I would just, oh my gosh, I remember back to that time. I was so super, super quiet. There was not a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. And if religion ever came up, I would want to express my opinion, but also I would want to hold back too, because I knew that if I couldn't convince these people to believe like I did, that it was actually really scary for me. Like it was something that I didn't want to deal with at all. Instead of just disagreeing on morals and ethics and just kind of just, it's interesting. I don't really believe that way, and still actually loving that person, I would judge that person. I would run away from that person, and then I would judge and hate them, because it wasn't just an issue of morality or ethics. It was an issue of, in my brain, I really thought that these people were they were evil. I believed that people outside of my religion, if they didn't want to believe the same as me, that we would call them worldly. So they were worldly, and they had a really good chance of like bringing us away from our religion. They could be satanic, demonic. I would felt so bad for these people, because I believed that they were going to die, because they were worthy of death, because they didn't want to listen to me, and they didn't want to do what I thought was the right thing to do. And I believed in these sort of things because I believed that I was right. I had been taught my whole life that I was superior. I had the truth. I had some superior knowledge to everybody. Out of all the people, it was me. I knew so much and I was chosen. I really, really believe that. I had the history, I had the experience, and I had the education. So my history was that I went to my very first meeting or to the church. You know, if you're outside of the witnesses, the witnesses call it the Kingdom Hall. And so I went to my very first meeting at the Kingdom Hall at 3 months old. My mom came into the religion when I was an infant. I had just been born. And so my experience was that I had only had friends inside of the religion. All of my family um, was outside of the religion. So it was my mom, my brother, my sister, and even my dad was an unbeliever. And so it was just my mom and us three kids. And we were kept away from everybody in our family. We were kept away from aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, everybody. We were totally separate. So my experience was like in this little teeny tiny bubble to where that was all that I knew. That was my whole life was inside of this. And so my education inside of the religion was probably 5+ hours a week. So on top of going to these meetings 3 times a week, we also had field service. And so what field service is that we would go out and preach to people. We were always looking to convert people. We were looking for people with sheep-like personalities that we could convert. And when those people would come to the door and say they would disagree with us, or they would slam the door in our face, or they had a different opinion, as soon as somebody started to show their opinion about what they believed, we were so scared that we would run away. Okay, and if you're a witness inside and you're watching this right now, you know it's true. You may not have run away. You're just like, oh wow, those people, oh my gosh, they're not gonna make it. You know, we would think such bad things about them. So either I would make those people agree with me, or I would run away and I would be scared. And the other way that we would keep away somebody's thoughts and opinions is there's a shunning practice inside of the Jehovah's Witnesses. And so they used to call it disfellowshipping. Now I believe they call it like deleting, canceling. I don't know. Basically, if you do something wrong, if you buy a lottery ticket, if you are oh my gosh, so many different things that you can get disfellowshipped for. If you smoke a cigarette, you can get disfellowshipped. If you fornicate, if you're not allowed to live with your boyfriend or girlfriend, no sex before marriage, things like that. Like, people really will be shunned, and what that means is they will be completely cut off from this little nucleus that they have developed for their whole life. It's like this whole family and community where you're taught everybody is really super scary. You will be cut off from these people and then thrown out into this world that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what this is all about. That's what happens when people don't agree with the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're terrified. Jehovah's Witnesses are terrified of other people's opinions outside of their religion. So being outside of the religion, I have to be really careful. I woke up from the religion in 2019. I left in 2020, and I have to be really, really careful with myself because I don't want to hate the haters. Like, I don't want to hate the Jehovah's Witnesses that hate me and think that I'm worthy of death. I also don't want to judge the Jehovah's Witnesses and judge them like how they judge me, right? So I have to be really careful to not judge the judger, to not hate the hater. I have been shunned, so I'm not disfellowshipped or deleted. For me, I've just been completely shunned because I speak out online and tell my truth and my experience and my opinion about what I believe. I have been completely shunned from the whole community that the only community that I've really only known my whole life. I could look at it like, oh, I've been shunned, I've been cut off, I've been cast away, and like, oh, this is so horrible. But really, honestly, the way that I feel it now, being on the other side of it, is I've really been set free because I'm not afraid of other people's opinions. I'm not afraid of other people's ideas. And it's the most freeing feeling that I've ever felt. I'm not threatened by other people's thoughts and opinions because they're just that. That's what I've learned as a life coach. People have thoughts and opinions about things, and they're taught things so much. It's like over and over and over and over. You know, Jehovah's Witnesses go to these meetings, and they're taught these same things over and over and over and over, that it's their thoughts and beliefs that all of a sudden now they call it their truth. You know, it's like they're in this bubble of like, oh, this is the truth. But really, it's only thoughts and opinions. And so there's no facts there, right? Because a fact is something that we could take this actual fact to a court of law and somebody would agree on it. But it's not a fact. You know, what Jehovah's Witnesses want to teach is that it's a fact. It's from the Bible. This is the way it is. But if you took it to a court of law, they wouldn't agree. And in fact, there's a lot of court cases going on right now all around the world where the courts aren't agreeing with the Jehovah's Witness way of thinking, because Jehovah's Witnesses, they protect pedophiles. In a court of law, they don't agree with that. So tell me, is it truth? As a life coach, I love being curious. This is something that I was never allowed to do, even as a child. I was never allowed to really use my imagination too much, to ask too many questions, to be too curious. I was just taught to do what I'm told to do, that somehow I'm imperfect, I need guidance, I can't trust my intuition. But now, being on the other side of things, I feel so awesome and so free. And especially as a life coach, to be able to listen to people and to really listen to their ideas and their opinions and their thoughts and their beliefs, and just be so curious. Like, if you think about it, you know, there's a population of people that believe that the world is flat. And it's like, okay, so you could have two different ideas about that. You could think, oh my gosh, like, what's wrong with these people? Do they not see, like, these, you know, the satellite pictures from space? Do they not understand that this is, right? You know, you could think that. Or you could be like, wow, that is so interesting. How fascinating. What makes somebody believe that, right? So it's nice to be on the other side of things, to be able to hear an opinion and to be able to just form my own opinion about it, but at the same time, not cutting somebody off and not discarding somebody's thoughts and feelings just because they have a different opinion about the formation of the world, right? I mean, it's a really great feeling, especially as a coach, to be able to just listen. Just say, okay, this is interesting, fascinating. Be so curious. And it's a feeling that I never had my whole life. I don't want to convince you to think like me anymore. I don't want to convince you for your brain to think how my brain thinks. I'm just fascinated by your brain. I'm fascinated by your thoughts, by your experience, by your education. That I'm just curious. I want to know. I want to know more things. What I want to do is, my hope and my wish and my dream is to just show my clients their own brain. It's not all of us being alike and having the same beliefs and thinking the same and being somewhat robotic. Really, all it is just showing other people their own thinking and their own brains. And that is the best feeling as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. I heard one time a friend of mine describe things this way. He was describing the way Jehovah's Witnesses think, and he was saying, it's sort of like you're in a jail cell or a prison. Okay, just hear me out here. But it's like you're in this box, right? And This is all you ever know. This is your whole box. And like, this is it. This is the truth. This is the truth. This is the truth. But if you turn around this way, you'll see there's a window. And he can look out the window. Oh my gosh, I never looked out that window before, right? But all you see is this, because Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to even consider anything outside of their own little bubble, jail cell, whatever you want to call it. Turn around, there's a window right here. Or like, oh, you could walk away at any time, or you could look out the window. There's another perspective that you've never considered because you only know this little tiny bubble that you've been raised in. If you're a Jehovah's Witness, I would love to ask you, and I would love to hear your comments, if you could comment to me, I would be really fascinated by what you believe, because I just want to ask you, what is it that you're believing that makes it so hard to hear somebody else's opinion about their own beliefs or their own ideas and their beliefs? What is it about that it's so hard for you to hear? And why is it so hard for you to hear an opinion that you don't believe in? Why is that so hard? You're here, you're listening to me, right? So, I mean, there's hope. This is good. But why is it so hard for you to hear an opinion about somebody's beliefs? And what are you making it mean when somebody has an opinion? And you might just tell me, oh, well, it's the Bible. It's the Bible. This says it in the Bible. Well, let me tell you what. I do have an old Bible. This is one that I have had. Oh, look, I even have it marked up. I've had for a while. And this is one that I had when I was younger. And this Bible, I used to believe that this was like the word. This was it. And then I got to explore and see there's a lot of different interpretations of the Bible. I looked into, different translations of the Bible. And, as a witness, you're allowed to do that. I would urge you to do that. You might want to look into that, because there's a lot of different religions and a lot of different people that have a lot of different opinions about the same book. Lots of translations, lots of opinions. And so you can't just say, oh, well, the Bible says. It's not just the Bible says, right? Because who made the translation? Who made this translation? It was men. It was a bunch of guys that are in New York, and they're making orders from headquarters for you. And so just consider that. Consider to look outside and just be curious about what other people believe and why they believe it. And the last thing that I would love to say to you is that the truth, if it is the truth, it doesn't mind being questioned. You can question the truth at any time. So there's no reason to be scared to look outside of your own religion and to be curious about the way other people think. And I just want to send you like lots of love if you are a witness, and like a great big hug. Like, I understand, because I was a witness at one time too, and I know what it's like to be really scared and terrified of other people's opinions and ideals and religions and beliefs and all of these things and other people's truth. But just try to be a little bit curious. Look into other translations. Do your own research for you. Do the things that do the research that you're really interested in learning about. Because I think that we only have a little bit of teeny tiny time here on the earth, and I would hate for you to spend the rest of your life being afraid of other people, being afraid of hearing somebody's opinion, and being afraid of their beliefs. Just because somebody expresses their belief doesn't mean that means you have to believe that way. I think Jehovah's Witnesses believe that way, like, oh my gosh, they need to believe like I believe, or else like we're done, right? But we don't have to be that way. we can be more open to others' opinions. And really, if you want to stick to your truth, stick to your truth, but at least kind of look outside and see what else is out there. All right. Okay, everyone. I've loved making this video, and if you know of somebody that might enjoy it too, I hope that you'll share it with them. And I'm not here to put down anybody, and I'm not here to put down anybody's beliefs or opinions or ideals. I want us to all just be a little bit more compassionate towards each other and let other people live. Like Jehovah's Witnesses, they believe what they believe because that's what they've been conditioned and taught. And that's all they, like for me, that's all I knew my whole life. So I understand why somebody would believe that way. So I just want to have a lot of compassion for all of the people, no matter what you believe. Yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. All right, bye everyone.